Most Monstera monkey leaf plants, well, they don't actually die from neglect. They die from one simple mistake that people don't even realize they're making. They treat them like normal houseplants. If you want to know exactly how to care for a Monstera monkey leaf plant and avoid the common pitfalls that doom so many indoor jungles, you are in exactly the right place.
If you're staring at your plant right now and seeing yellow leaves, crispy brown edges, or vines that have just completely stopped growing, please do not panic. This explainer could literally save your plant's life. We are going to completely rethink how you view this beautiful plant, and I promise you, the secret soil fix we'll cover in just a few minutes is going to be an absolute game changer. Okay, here's a quick rundown of our agenda for today. We're looking at the native environment, perfect light and watering, the chunky soil secret, and moss poles. Then we'll tackle troubleshooting and winter care. Make sure to stick around for Section 5 because our troubleshooting guide will help you diagnose exactly what's going wrong with your plant right now.
Let's dive right into Section 1, the native environment of Central and South America. Just look at this stark contrast here. Out in the wild, this plant climbs trees. Its roots are literally exposed to the air, absorbing flowing moisture and high humidity and dappled, filtered light. But what do we do in a standard apartment? We shove this wild climbing plant into compacted potting mud in a dark, dry corner, usually sitting in standing water. It's no wonder standard care fails. It suffocates roots that are naturally meant to breathe. Moving on to Section 2, your perfect light and watering routine. First up is light. Here's the deal. Bright, indirect light is completely non-negotiable if you want those beautiful signature holes, which are called fenestrations. Direct sunlight acts like a magnifying glass. It will absolutely scorch the leaves and leave ugly brown marks. But if you stick it in a low-light corner, it triggers what's called an etolation response. The plant will grow these leggy, spindly stems with tiny, solid leaves because it's desperately stretching to find the sun. So keep it bright but filtered. Next up, let's talk watering. Honestly, throw away your watering schedule right now. Watering on a strict every Sunday routine is the fastest possible route to root rot. Instead, you're going to use the foolproof finger test. Just stick your finger into the soil. Only water when the top 1 to 2 inches are completely dry. And when you do water, soak it thoroughly until water pours out the bottom, and never ever let it sit in a full drip saucer. Oh, and a quick pro tip. Chlorine and fluoride in tap water can cause brown leaf tips, so definitely use filtered or rainwater if you can.
All right, Section 3, the ultimate chunky soil mix. This is huge.
This right here is the ultimate chunky aeroid mix. We're talking 40% orchid bark to form the structural backbone, which creates massive air pockets. Then 20% perlite and 20% pumice or akadama for permanent drainage. 10% horticultural charcoal absorbs impurities, and just 10% cocoa coir is in there to hold on to a tiny bit of moisture. Listen, if you squeeze your current soil and it clumps together like wet clay, your plant is suffocating. This chunky recipe perfectly mimics that airy, well-draining forest floor.
To really understand why that soil is so absolutely crucial, we need to look at this definition. The Monstera is a hemiepiphyte. That means those strange brown aerial roots shooting out of the stems, they aren't mistakes. They're literally designed to anchor onto tree bark and pull moisture right out of the humid air. Burying those delicate, air-breathing roots in dense, heavy mud is pretty much a guaranteed death sentence.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, moss poles and faster growth. So you actually have 2 distinct aesthetic choices here. You can absolutely let your Monstera monkey leaf trail downward from a hanging basket, though the leaves will stay relatively small. However, providing climbing growth via a moss pole or a trellis changes the game entirely. Allowing those aerial roots to grab onto a vertical, moist support triggers the plant's mature phase. It suddenly thinks it's climbing a tree in the jungle, and it will reward you with drastically faster growth and massive, highly fenestrated leaves. All right, Section 5. Let's get into troubleshooting common problems. Think of this as your highly practical diagnostic cheat sheet. If you're seeing yellowing, lower leaves, you are almost certainly overwatering, or your soil is just too dense. The fix? Repot it in our chunky mix. Now, if you see brown, crispy edges, your Monstera's humidity needs aren't being met, or tap water salts are burning it. Bring in a humidifier and switch to that filtered water. And if you've got long, leggy stems with 0 holes, the plant is starving for light. Just move it closer to a bright, indirect window. Now, if your plant is yellowing and you see tiny, rice-like bugs, yeah, you've got pests, most likely thrips. Here's your battle plan. First, isolate the plant immediately so they don't spread to your other plants. Second, spray every square inch with a neem oil and dish soap mixture. Third, manually wash the bugs off in the shower. And fourth, and this is the absolute secret, you must repeat this weekly for at least 5 weeks. Thrips lay eggs inside the leaf tissue, so you have to keep treating it to break their 30 to 45-day life cycle as new ones hatch.
Section 6, propagation and winter care. Let's talk about making more plants. Monstera propagation is incredibly easy and so rewarding. But the crucial point here in step 1 is exactly where you cut. You can't just snip a leaf off anywhere. You absolutely must cut the stem just below a leaf node. That's that little brown bump where the aerial root grows out. Pop that cutting into a glass of water, wait 2 to 3 weeks until you see healthy white roots form, and then pot it up in your chunky aeroid mix. Boom, free plants.
Now when winter hits, your plant enters dormancy, and your care routine has to adapt. Because there's less light, the plant uses way less water. You might only be watering every 14 to 20 days. Also, stop fertilizing entirely. You don't want to force growth when the plant is trying to rest. Keep temperatures cozy, right between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. And for the love of foliage, move them away from freezing window drafts. Overwatering in winter is a guaranteed recipe for root rot.
Section 7, let's do a final recap and go over your plant care checklist. Here is your master checklist for perfect indoor Monstera care. Give it bright, indirect light. Plant it in a chunky, airy soil mix so those roots can breathe. Only water when the top 2 inches are bone dry. Introduce a moss pole if you want those massive, jungle-sized leaves. And always, always inspect for pests while you water. Now, just a quick heads up, this explainer is educational and plant care results will naturally vary depending on your specific home environment. Your lighting, humidity, and temperatures are unique to you, so always observe your plant closely and adjust these tips based on its actual condition.
So I want to hear from you. What's the biggest struggle you're facing with your indoor plants right now? Is it watering, figuring out lighting, or battling stubborn pests? Drop your problems and questions in the comments below, and I'll do my absolute best to help you troubleshoot. And hey, if you found these practical, BS-free plant care tips helpful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next explainer. Happy growing, and I'll see you next time.